Abraham Hyde Todikini was born in 1879. He is Pearl and Ryder Hyde Todikini's third child. When he was 3 years old, he and his older brother were attacked. Abraham was taken by a beast while his brother was left for dead. He was brought to a home far from the woods, where he was safe. Inside was a woman, Doba, and her young daughter Hasia. She gave Abraham a warm bath and tucked him into bed. After she put the children to bed, she went to speak to the beast, who was her husband Bitziel. He told her about Abraham's encounter with the beast. She asked him why he couldn't bring the boy to his family. But as far as Bitziel knew, they were dead, so they would be keeping him. After that night, Abraham would have nightmares of his brother's attack. Doba would come and comfort him until the nightmares went away. He grew incredibly close with the family. They treated him like he was one of their own. They even gave him a nickname, Bromi. He got along well with their daughter Hasia. She reminded him of his brother Jacques. He noticed her and her father would often howl to each other, so he would do the same to them. When he was a little older, they told him they were gifted. They would use their gifts to protect their land from the Yi Nold Lushi, an evil entity with the ability to shapeshift into any animal. It was extremely difficult to kill. It was the same entity that attacked Abraham's brother. It often took the form of the gifted to lure its prey. Because of that, many believed their kind was dangerous. Humans who feared them hunted them. With them in the way, it made it hard to protect their loved ones from the real threat. But they would remain peaceful because they only had one enemy. Their family wasn't the only ones with those gifts. Bitziel was the leader of a pack, so he was always busy. Bromi and Hasia would spend time playing with each other. They would sometimes play with the other children of the pack. A kid named Judah would bully him for being human. Bromi would feel bad that he wasn't like everyone else. Hasia would tell him he was perfect the way he was. She always knew how to cheer him up. He was fascinated by her and her father's abilities. Every day he wanted to be more and more like them. That only brought him closer to Hasia. By then they were best friends. One night at a gathering, Judah claimed to know how to give him the gift. All he had to do was follow him to the cliff beneath the moon. Curious and naive, he followed him away from the group. The clouds cleared, exposing the full moon. Judah pushed up against Bromi and attacked him. He was so strong, Bromi couldn't defend himself. Luckily, Hasia came before any more damage could be done. She beat Judah and scared him off. Although Bromi was grateful that she saved him, he wished he was strong enough to defend himself. He begged for her to turn him and, despite her parents' wishes, she couldn't say no. Caving in, she obliged to his wishes. In fear of her parents' reaction, they kept it a secret when they got home. But when they got back, there were greater things to worry about. While they were gone, there was an attack. They rushed to find everyone else. When they got inside, the whole place was ransacked. Doba had been seriously hurt. The rest of the house was untouched, but there was no sign of Bitziel. Hasia feared he was in danger. Doba had woken up, but she was in bad shape. Bromi helped her to her room to rest. When he came out, Hasia expressed her grievances about her father. She told him to stay with her mother while she went to look for him. But Bromi didn't want her out there on her own. so he followed her, all the way into the woods. Hasiya was quick in her form, which made him lose sight of her. He followed the growls and whimpers through the woods. Suddenly, he heard the voice of his older brother from several years earlier. Then he saw it, the Ye-Gnarled Lushi. Just as he was attacked, Bidsil jumped in to save him. He fought the Skinwalker and lost horribly. By the time Brahmi got up, it was too late to help him. He was so infuriated to see Bidsil in such a state. He lost control of himself. He ran and kept running. When the sun rose, he was still running. He later woke up confused. After a while of walking, he found Hasiya. She was severely hurt. They returned home defeated. When everyone recovered, a funeral was held for Bidsil. Doba planted a tree in his remembrance. Hasiya felt like a failure for not saving him. Brahmi felt just as bad considering Bidsil was trying to protect him. Hasiya would teach him the same way her father taught her. As the years went on, he would become stronger. He and Hasiya started to see each other differently. One day while they were on a date, Judah confronted them. He challenged Brahmi to a fight. The winner would get to be with Hasiya. Offended, Hasiya cursed at him for thinking she would agree to that. But Brahmi was confident that he'd beat him, so he accepted. Besides, he wanted a rematch after their first fight. They met at the highest peak in the woods later that night. Then they fought. Hasiya watched fretfully. It was an ugly fight that ended rather quickly. Brahmi didn't stand a chance. He was devastated and embarrassed. Judah celebrated his victory by rubbing it in his face, which made Brahmi feel worse. Hasiya reassured him that even though he lost, he still had her. She wasn't going anywhere. Brahmi proposed, promising he wasn't going anywhere either. They were married in 1898. That same year they discovered they were expecting. They soon had a little girl named Waya. Later in 1899, they had another child, a girl named Tayan. Then in 1901 they had their son, Sani. They were a very happy little family. Brahmi and Hasiya would teach their children the ways of the wolves as they got older. They would also warn them about the Ye-Gnarled Lushi. But there was one thing they would forget to mention. Humans. Brahmi heard the gunfire and tackled the hunter. When he was down, he checked on his wife. Hasiya had been shot several times. She tried to hold on, but she had lost too much blood. She died there in his arms. While Brahmi mourned his dead wife, his heart filled with hate for the hunter. He scared the hunter off, then carried Hasiya back home. The family was hysterical. Hasiya Benallys died in 1911. She was 36 years old. Her death would forever scar their children. It was because of humans their mother was dead. They would never forget that.